Section 10. Netrunner. You patch in the last connection, making sure your wrist plugs are tight. You slam down the go switch. Instantly, your mind is filled with the gray-white static of the drop to online. Then, with a sickening falling sensation, you hurtle forwards into a maze of shifting neon shapes and spinning grid lines. You're in the net. The net is a vast telecommunications network that joins all of the computers and telephones on Earth. It is formed by radio, telephone, and cellular phone links, with microwave transmitters beaming information into orbit and beyond. In the late 20th century, the net was only accessible via a computer terminal, using a device called a modem to send and receive information. But in 2020, the net can be entered directly using your own brain, interface plugs, and complex interface programs that turn computer data into perceptual events. Netrunners. Netrunners are outlaw computer jocks who are advanced versions of the computer hackers of the late 20th century. Netrunners operate on both sides of the complex and draconian laws covering computer crime in the cyberpunk world. Hard-driving computer cowboys, Netrunners literally take their lives into their hands as they tackle the mighty data fortresses and the deadly counter-intrusion programs that guard them. The ultimate challenge of man versus machine. Frack, she was good. She was the best. Maybe it was because she'd been a combat programmer during the Third Corp War, or maybe it was just a gift. I always figured it was because of the accident, the one that took off both legs and part of one arm. With all the cyberware, there wasn't much left that was human. My guess was she only came alive in the net. Everything else was just marking time in a half-alive body. Great looking half-alive body though. Edgar. Some people do it for glory, or because it's there, but most run the net for money. Inside each computer system linked to the net is information. Some of the information is trivial and useless, like recipe lists or notes, but much of the information is incredibly valuable. New business plans, insider stock tips, secret blueprints, blackmail information, hot new programs and software, money you can transfer electronically to your own bank accounts. The formula for Coke Classic. Even if you can't use what you find, you can usually sell it to a fixer who will in turn sell it to someone who can. Another reason people run the net is to back up other Cyberpunk teams. If you need to send someone into a heavily secured installation, the installation's computer may have maps of the entire place. Once inside, you can use the same computer to override security systems, open computer-controlled doors, even eavesdrop through computer-controlled security cameras and observation devices. Most heavy-duty solo teams have at least one runner on the payroll, just to gather intelligence about secure areas and obstacles to a battle plan. Corporations also hire netrunners to protect their computer systems and to commit their own corporate computer espionage. The laws of the 2000s are extremely draconian about computer crime. Most government agencies can freely use any and all means to eliminate intruders. Most corporations are equally hardline, except with their own pet runners, even without resorting to highly illegal black programs. The law allows corporate authorities to locate and arrest intruders on the spot. Heavy prison terms and possibly mind wipe are just samples of what awaits a computer felon. But you're not planning on getting caught, right? There's over a dozen netrunners out there that the Netwatch cops would love to brain burn, and Rach Bartmoss is at least two of them. Spider Murphy. God, but it's great to be loved. Rach Bartmoss. An alien race could infiltrate the net through space. Some cowboys think it's already happened. Me? I got doubts. But I also got a laser just in case. Edgar. Net geography. The net is basically a vast potential space constructed by linking together phone lines and fiber optic control cables. The Ihara-Grubb transformation algorithms that govern net reality generate this space as a wire skeleton topography of grids and shapes. Areas of high line resistance, old lines, garbled transmissions, appear as mountains, while areas of low line resistance appear as plains and valleys. Individual computer systems appear as icons or constructs, created from millions of tiny bits of color and light, which, like video images or half-tone photographs, can only be distinguished as individual parts by close examination. To simplify navigation through net space, the actual communications lines of the net are represented as an endless blue-white grid. When an individual line must be located, programs within the Netrunner cyberdeck locate the required lines or access points and identify them with a bright red beacon light. The Ihara-Grubb transformations are also designed to take the relative position of a system into account in relation to its contiguous net space. For example, a computer system high up in a skyscraper will appear as an icon far up in net space. A system buried underground will be positioned roughly as in relation to the plane of net space as it is relative to the ground level in external reality, or real space. Both systems can be found in a NetSpace location analogous to their real locations in their individual subgrids. A moving system will travel through the subgrids that are parallel to its travel in real space. Any place a computer can be turned on and hooked into the net is an extension of the net into this universe. The net is, as far as anyone can tell, potentially infinite. If you can link a computer to this communications web, you will automatically create a new section of the net around that computer. Thus, new areas are created all the time, as more computers are hooked up and logged onto the net. Theoretically, you could put a radio or net link into a long-range space probe and expand the net into deep space. But it would take a long time to get to that area of net space, and it would take forever to do things. Ihara and Grubb theorized that an alien intelligence with a lot of power and a knowledge of Earth computer tech could link to the net over interstellar distances. Probably, it could not actually do anything. The best solution would be to beam a link to an orbital satellite, downloading a copy of the alien AI into the net at this end, then move freely about the net. Some netrunners claim this has happened already. Kirama LPD-12 Cyberdeck, speed +3, memory 20 MU, cellular capable, 8025 eddies. Boy, I wish old Bill Gibson was around to see this. Hey Edgar, don't you know it's unlucky to invoke the name of the patron saint? Somewhere over the Pacifica region, LDL 2542.0219. Islands of the net, people, places, and things in NetSpace. Regions. Regions, also nicknamed kingdoms, are large areas on the world net map, such as Atlantis in the southern Atlantic/African basin. They are referred to by name. A region is a hazy zone of shifting boundaries. New regions pop up all the time, and the boundaries constantly change as potential net reality shifts. It's not really a place, just a rough definition of an area where certain groups or governments have the most control. Regions include Atlantis. This is the second largest of the regional kingdoms, stretching from Central and South America to the west coast of Africa. The region is primarily controlled by the Central American Federation and its allied corporations. Key city grids are located in Mexico City, Panama City, Bogota, Havana, Rio de Janeiro, Buenos Aires, Dakar, and Ascension. Atlantis is a fairly freewheeling region with a lot of black market trade, especially out of Panama City. Pacifica, floating islands of light, capped with neon green fractal palm trees. The whole thing floats above a bright glittering ocean, like something out of a tropic dream. They've got the virtual water construct set up so that you can see all the way down to a limitless sea bottom, where glowing, colory fish shapes dive between shifting mirage coral, pursued by clever dolphin programs, part AI and part illusion. Rach Bartmoss, Net Traveler's Guide 2019. Rust Belt. This region covers the central and eastern United States. Key city grids are the New York/Boss Wash Megaplex, Chicago Great Lakes, Atlanta City Core, New Orleans, and St. Louis. The region is a near absolute dictatorship controlled by a troika of NetWatch, the worldwide net security organization, the US Provisional Government, and the Euromarket Consortium. Systems are heavily monitored and computer crime treated with a draconian ferocity. Olympia. The Olympia region spans most of the southwestern and western United States. Nominally, it is the domain of NetWatch and the United States Provisional Government. Individual city grids are usually controlled on a local level by the most prominent corporation in the area. Denver, Orbital Air, Salt Lake, Militech, Dallas, Houston, Megaplex, WorldSat, Albuquerque, Militech. Most of the traffic in these regions is corporate related, with many established bulletin boards and service networks. Pacifica. This is the largest of the regions, covering the west coast of North America and expanding over most of the Pacific Basin. As with Olympia, it is under the joint rulership of NetWatch and the USPG to the edge of the Hawaiian Basin. At this point, there is a four-way diversion between NetWatch, USPG, Arasaka Ltd., and the Far Asian Co-Prosperity Federation. In the US, most key city grids are controlled by the most powerful corps in the specific city. Night City has Arasaka, San Francisco EBM, Los Angeles Petrochem, Seattle Arasaka. Across the Pacific Basin, control increases as Arasaka tightens its grip. This is a very small region covering the Japanese archipelago, specifically Tokyo, Osaka, and Yokohama. Chiba is the center of operations for a number of very powerful zaibatsu, including Mitsubishi Dai, Matsushima Kiroshiu, and of course, Arasaka. However, due to the immense amount of inner zaibatsu warfare, no one megacorp holds control, making this a ripe field for information brokering and corporate netspionage. Afrikani. This regional kingdom extends from the edge of Atlantis across Africa to the Middle East and Madagascar. Key city grids are Addis Ababa, Zanzibar, Cairo, Algiers, Nairobi, Mozambique, and Alexandria. With the exception of Nairobi and Cairo, under the orbital air control, the rest of the Africani is a chaotic wasteland of antiquated systems, shifting alliances, and fanatics. Caution is advised. Eurotheater, the most powerful of the regional kingdoms. Eurotheater is primarily controlled by the Eurocorps. Key city grids are London, Paris, Berlin, Frankfurt, Munich, Zurich, Amsterdam, Rome, Madrid, and Stockholm. The three largest Eurocorps in each city work in cooperation with Netwatch to maintain security. The Eurotheater net is dominated by a corporate traffic. There are few private systems, and most independent netrunners are already known and recorded by Netwatch. Eurotheater is a good place for legal business transactions, banking, net conferencing, and other legitimate transactions. It is a very, very bad place to commit computer crimes. Sovspace. This region covers the borders of the now reduced Union of Soviet Specialist Republics, extending into Eastern Europe. Key city grids are Moscow, Leningrad, Warsaw, Kiev, Budapest, Vienna, and Prague. The USSR holds nominal control over this region, with control gradually shifting to Netwatch and the European Economic Community around Poland. Systems in Sovspace tend to be primitive, slow, and equipped with a few deadly programs rather than sophisticated defenses. The Eastern European netrunners range from simple hackers all the way to the most daring cowboys in all of NetSpace. These guys have nothing to lose. The entire region is rife with espionage, information trading, and the petty bickerings of small political groups looking for their own economic advantages. A good place to sell information if you don't mind being paid in low-value currency. Orbitsville, the largest potential region covering the low Earth and near Earth space. Orbitsville is a great place to meet people, pick up rumors, and generally have a good old time. Security is loose to non-existent. Orbitsville is primarily controlled by the orbital corporations and the ESA, which has its own version of Netwatch. There's not a lot of groundhog traffic. Orbital time lag, 2 to 3 seconds, makes net running from groundside a tough proposition. Local traffic is very busy, with every spacer habitat and colony hooked up to a constant stream of chatter. Transactions are mostly on the small time level, trading raw materials, medicine, air, food, water, and gossip. Long distance links. Long distance links, LDLs, allow instantaneous transfer between cities. The Worldwide Internet Communications Corporation maintains most of the available long-distance links as part of its long-distance services, but many large corps have private long-distance links that go only between corporate offices. Using a long-distance link requires a password, normally the netrunner's net access code, which is used for billing purposes. However, with the right programs, one can convince an internet that this call is a local one, or that the call was never actually made. Wilder space. Movement between long-distance links is almost always done via up/down links. Most of the physical space is jumped over and is pretty much unknown territory. Yet the activation of individual computers can create independent areas not directly linked to the net. The intervening distances between physical points of the net, such as San Francisco and Night City, are called Wilder space. Wilder space was originally theorized in 2004 by J.A. Grubb, a computer game designer and occasional hacker who conceived of it as a vast area of dormant potential reality, which could come into existence when a computer was linked to the net. Without up/down links, this region would be isolated from the main traffic of the net, and accessible only by those who are willing to walk there the hard way. Netrunner legend is that something probably lives in Wilder space. Rogue AIs, alien intellects, things which have their own separate city grids that only appear occasionally when these forces open an up/down link to the main net. The equivalent would be a remote South Seas island which is unknown and unreachable until a canoe is sent to the nearest civilization. If the natives were skilled at entering civilizations and disguising their true nature, they could probably remain undiscovered for centuries. Netwatch. Netwatch is a policing organization designed to patrol the net looking for illegal activity. Governments, individual corporations, and other large groups contribute money, equipment, and their best netrunners to the Netwatch organization. The net cops are equipped with very powerful software and move freely through the net, patrolling a specific beat that might cover a city, region, or even a continent. Net cops, wolves, weasels, the Icemen, are equipped with very powerful tracking programs, as well as arrest programs that can freeze a cyberdeck in a loop and hold the netrunner frozen, unable to jack out until release. While arrest and imprisonment are the goal of net cops, they have been known to use black programs to kill or maim their opposition. Bulletin boards, or BBS. A BBS is a friendly data fortress where runners can meet to exchange information, chat, swap software, and so on. A BBS data fortress is usually heavily protected and hidden somewhere. A code word or very complex encryption is needed to get in. Once inside, the BBS user encounters a number of areas or club rooms designated for various functions. These are usually designed around thematic virtual realities. For example, the Hunt Club BBS of Denver is an elaborate virtual reality construct of a grand old English manor house, complete with servants, a drawing room, and a croquet green. Netwatch was created as part of a unilateral agreement in the UN Treaty. It is empowered to protect and serve the law-abiding citizens of the World Communications Network. The Netwatch Story, a DMS production. Netwatch, a bunch of hoods with cyberdecks who like to push people around. We like to lead the Iceman into deserted regions of NetSpace and dry glutch him. And not just for the fun of it. Rach Bartmoss. My first deck was an ancient Hitachi Radio Shack. It had this keyboard with a gray screen monitor, and it was slower than a congressman passing a tax bill. First thing, I used it to hack into the Zetatech sales office and write myself an order for a brand new Paraline 5750A. That deck had everything: speed, power, memory. I was in love. But I still keep that old Hitachi RS-95 around, just in case. You never know. Spider Murphy. Netgear, interfaces. The human mind can't comprehend a stream of data any more than it can see an electron. It needs a way to interpret the incoming data as something meaningful. So netrunners use an interface program, a super advanced version of the more primitive virtual reality systems of the 1990s, to interpret for them. The interface intercepts data coming through the cyberdeck and translates it into something understandable, then routes the altered data to the netrunner's eyes and ears. The world perceived through the interface is real because it directly plugs into his senses. So why go through all the trouble to create interfaces? Why not just use a keyboard like the rest of the meat minds? Partially for the fun of it, but in addition, a realistic and dangerous interface gives a netrunner an extra edge. It keeps him alert, involved, and interested in his environment. After all, what would you react faster to? The word demon appearing in the air in front of you? Or a living, breathing 5-ton monster crackling a flaming whip over your head? You betcha. The second generation. The early interfaces were an art form. Millions of programming hours were devoted each year in constructing accurate and interesting realities for netrunning, using sophisticated artificial intelligence programs and random story generators. These interface programs function on a low-end, narrow-focused bandwidth, which could not carry much more information than an old-fashioned computer modem of the 1990s. In addition to being limited in scope, these early interface programs were also unable to give the netrunner a sense of his position in the real world beyond the computer screen. Then, in 2014, the wizards of the net achieved a major breakthrough: the Ihara-Grubb transformation algorithms. The IG transformations allowed a cyberdeck to extrapolate the pathways of the net in relation to their real space coordinates, then generate a graphic model that could be perceived by an interface program. The results could be used as a navigational aid through the net, as well as providing a sense of space and time not possible with earlier designs. Icons. One of the other benefits of the IG transformations are that they allow you to translate the signal of your cyberdeck into a visible representation in the net. This representation of yourself is known as your icon. Most things in the net have some kind of icon. Even if one isn't specified, the IG formulas will create a polygonal form to represent them. Your icon is your personal symbol. It's what other netrunners will talk to and relate with when they encounter you in NetSpace. Your icon can look like anything you want it to: armored techno warrior, fantasy creature, bizarre shape or logo, even yourself. You can change your icon anytime you enter the net. You can even disguise your icon by using special programs for stealth and evasion. Choosing your icon is one of the first things you'll decide when you jack in. Make sure it's got your personal style written all over it. Interface plugs. So what do you need to run the net besides a cool brain and a hot interface? Plugging into the vast metaverse of the net requires two additional and all-important pieces of hardware. The first is a set of neural or interface plugs. Interface plugs are basically just that: plastic plugs built into the netrunner's wrists, temples, or back of neck to be connected to a cyber modem by cables, as described in Putting the Cyber into the Punk on pages 81 and 82. You can get by without plugs. All you'll need is a set of trodes, seen on page 134. These are self-sticking electrodes that pick up neural signals by skin inductance. They're slower and less responsive than plugs, giving you a -2 reflex while in the net, but they are cheaper and don't have any humanity costs. The other thing you'll need is a cyber deck. SGI Technologies Elijah, speed is +3, 1 CPU, 20 memory, +5 data walls. Options, keyboards, 3x4 meter video board, 8 trade ports, chip reader, fully portable, 4,260 eddies. Zetatech Paraline 5750, speed +2, CPU 1, memory 10, data walls +4. Options, keyboard, 2x3 meter video board, chip reader, about 3,600 eddies. Cyberdecks. The standard Cyberdeck is about the size of a paperback book, is made of plastic, and weighs about half a kilogram. It has 6 plug-in ports for adding extra options, as well as 6 output ports for jacking in other people. The owner of the deck, however, is the only one who can control it, making the other people only passengers. This is the stock deck everyone starts off their netrunning career with. Prices range from $500 for a used model up to $1,000 for new. This is where your referee can show a little mercy by turning your character onto a cheap used deck. For a price, of course. Most cyberdecks are table models, jacked in and blind. A netrunner isn't going to be going much of anywhere, right? However, technological breakthroughs have taken the deck off the table and put it on the street. Portable decks. These decks have internal, rechargeable power packs good for up to 4 hours. Recharge is 1 hour for every hour of battery power. All combat, cyberlim, and cellular decks are of this type. A portable deck costs 2,000 eddies. Hitchhikers. But wait, you can jack your experiences into a monitor so that others can watch, or even hook your buddies up with the trodes to let them ride along. Remember, your interface skill is your ability to control and visualize, as in a fantasy run. Others can see the mage do magic, they just can't do it themselves. With a trode hook, you can come along, you just can't run software or create stuff. Cyberlim decks. These are portable decks about the size of a pack of cigarettes. They can be installed into a cyberlim. Phone connection cables are jacked between the limb and the phone lines. The deck itself is hardwired right into the body along with the controlling links for the cyberlim. See Putting the Cyber into the Punk pages 90 through 91 for prices. This can be a very dangerous option, hardwired right in. It's impossible for your buddies to notice you frying and yank the cables on you. Instead, you just burn. Combat Assault decks. These decks are constructed of rugged ceramics and steel, capable of taking bullet hits and crash impacts, with an SB of 20. Most combat decks are designed to be portable and have adapter cables which allow them to be plugged into any type of phone line, around 3,000 eddies when available, a difficult task. Cellular decks. These are portable decks designed to link up with a cellular phone net. They are very effective anywhere within a city, but are useless in rural areas. Most have jacks for manual phone patches. A cellular deck has a 25% chance of losing cellular connection when used in a moving vehicle. A failed roll will automatically drop the netrunner out of the net, but it's a small price to pay for the high level of mobility offered by a cellular deck. A cellular deck costs 4,000 eddies. Cellular decks. These are very expensive decks which have implanted or otherwise kept on the body. As long as you stay in one place, you can instantly jack into the net. This is a good idea for parties, as it allows your netrunner to move with the group. A special program in the deck runs all the netrunner's body functions. It keeps him from falling over, drooling, or babbling. He can even use his voice while in the net to describe things he sees. Because netrunning actions happen at the speed of thought, this means that your netrunner seems to go spacey for a few seconds, then says, "Hey, I found the electronic door and I'm running my Doormaster 5 utility to open it." Then the door opens. Unless you get into major net functions, you need only pop in, run your local remote utility to take control with your control remote utility, do your thing, and then return. It's only when you're cracking systems that you have to stay in the face for a long time and bore the rest of the party. Improving your deck. A standard deck has only one memory, holds 10 memory units, MU, or about 10 programs, has a speed of 0, and a data wall strength of 2. While this isn't going to mean much to you now, by the time you get into net combat on page 151 and designing data fortresses on page 154, you're going to want to know how to boost your deck as far as it can go. Memory. For an additional 5,000 eddies, you can purchase an additional memory for your deck. This improves your program power to 20 MU, double its stock size. Speed. For an additional 2,000 eddies, you can increase your deck speed by 1 level, up to a ceiling of 5. This can be a lifesaver, as deck speed determines who moves first in a netrunner combat. And in this game, last is dead. Data walls. For an additional 1000 eddies, you can increase your deck's data wall protection by 1 level, up to a ceiling of 10. Data walls are important. They keep the armor of the deck resisting attacks from anti-system programs. And then there are options. Deck options. In addition to your basic models, any type of deck can be enhanced by adding a few options. Trode sets are self-sticking electrodes that allow you to run the net without plugs. Trodes are slower than plugs, -2 reflex while in the net, but have no humanity loss. They are commonly used by novice runners and by tourists visiting the net on a lark. Keyboards are an option which allow a netrunner to control a deck indirectly. They are abysmally slow at -4 to reflexes, but are immune to all anti-personnel attacks except Firestarter. Video boards are flat-screen, high-definition TV monitors which can be used to show a net's eye view to outsiders. Printers allow you to make hard copy images and records from your deck. Most are small laser printers about the size of a large book, using plain paper. Chip readers/recorders use standard data chips, 10 eddies each, to store programs, images, and other useful things from your deck. They are about the size of a pack of cigarettes. Vox boxes are small speaker units that can synthesize sound from a deck. They can also be used by the netrunner to talk to outsiders while he's in the net, about the size of a pack of smokes. Scanners are flat plastic plates with optical character reading and image recording capacity. They range from the size of a sheet paper all the way up to a meter on a side. Programs. Programs are the workhorses of netrunning. They do the fighting, protecting, decrypting, and sneaking for the runner. If a netrunner is a cybernetic magician, then programs are his spells. They're at his mental fingertips. Okay, it's true, I based the icon on my old input, but frack, she really did deserve to be called a soul sucker. Rage Bart Moss. Programs are rated by strength, class, memory units used, cost, and icon. Strength is how powerful a program is relative to other programs. In combat, the strength of a program is usually added to the netrunner's attack roll, much like weapon accuracy in a combat situation. The higher the strength, the better chance the program will be able to do its job. Class is the type of program, its function. Intrusion programs sneak in, detection programs detect, anti-IC programs attack other programs, and anti-personnel programs attack netrunners, and so on. Memory units represents the size of the program. All programs are measured in memory units, or MU. Each memory of a cyber deck or system can hold 10 memory units. This means space is at a premium for netrunners. You can only stack up so much in one run. Cost is the price of the program on the open or black market. Nothing in the future is free, not even the air, Chumbada. The icon is what the program usually looks like in the net, but don't count on it. You can alter your program's icon to suit your own taste and style. Just goes to show, don't trust anything. Enough talk. Read the programs and spend your euro. You gotta run a make. I've known bit jocks who could crack an EBM system like a cheap safe, in and out before the Iceman could even look up. Sure, they were fast and smart, but mostly they knew their programs. They knew what to take and when, so they never got caught off base when the playing field turned into a battle zone. Edgar. Program list. Intrusion. Hammer, 400 eddies. Strength of 4, memory units of 1. Hammer pounds down data walls with a bombardment of raw electrical pulse. Use code wall attack formula on page 142. Weaken data wall strength by 2d6 after every attack. It is very noisy and will automatically alert any defense program within 10 spaces. Icon, a glowing red hammer. Jackhammer, 360 eddies. Strength of 2, memory units of 2. Jackhammer is a quieter but less powerful, weaken data wall 1d6 strength after attack, version of a hammer. It uses small pulses of energy to wear the data wall away. Icon, a glowing red jackhammer-like object, which fires a stream of white-hot energy bolts at the data wall. Worm, 660 eddies. Strength 2, memory units of 5. Worm is a very subtle program which emulates part of the architecture of the invaded system. It slips behind the data or code wall and opens it from the inside. 2 turns, no alert. Icon, a gold metal robotic worm with green neon eyes. Decryption, Codecracker, 380 eddies. Strength of 3, memory units of 2. The Codecracker series, designed by Interfax Software in 2008, is classic code gate crack program. The series disassembles the code gate at the basic program rather than trying to decipher the key. Icon, a thin beam of white light which shoots from the netrunner's hands and spreads through the code gate, turning it into a glowing, dissipating fog. Wizard's Book, 400 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 2. The Wizard's Book is designed to scan through literally billions of possible codes and code words in seconds, trying each one in turn. It is especially effective, a strength of 6, against code gates. Icon, a stream of blazing white symbols flowing at incredible speed from the Netrunner's open hands. Raffles, 560 eddies, strength of 5, memory units of 3. Raffles is designed specifically to deal with complex code gates and file locks which have a specific word as the key. It asks the code gate a series of innocuous and leading questions. Is it bigger than a bread box? Is it hot or cold? Designed to tell Raffles the nature of the code gate and its key. Icon, a dapper young man wearing evening clothes of the early 1900s. He speaks briefly to the door, then vanishes as soon as it opens. Detection and alarm programs. Watchdog, 610 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 5. Watchdog is designed to alert owners to illegal entries into the system. It can do this by activating an external alarm or by sending a message to an occupied workstation. Netrunners can use watchdogs to patrol another part of the net, such as rivals' computer systems, then key the watchdog to run their cyber modem or workstation if security is breached. This technique allows you to guard your secret files and pathways in other people's computers. Icon, a large black metal dog. It has glowing red eyes and a spiked metal collar adorns its neck. Bloodhound, 700 eddies, strength of 3, memory units of 5. Like Watchdog, Bloodhound is designed to detect illegal system entries. However, it also tracks the entry to its source and alerts its masters to the location of the intruder. Like Watchdog, Bloodhounds can be set up to watch a part of the net and report back to you at another workstation or modem. Icon, a large gunmetal greyhound robot. It has glowing blue eyes and wears a thick circlet of blue neon as its collar. Pitbull, 780 eddies, strength of 2, memory units of 6. The most advanced form of the Watchdog series. Pitbull not only tracks the intruder to its source, but also cuts the line after acquiring the location. It will continue to cut the line every time the intruder logs on from that point of entry, requiring them to move to another phone line or cyber modem. Like Watchdog, Pitbull can be set up to watch a part of the net and report back to you at another workstation or modem. Icon, a short, heavily built steel dog robot. It has glowing red eyes and wears a thick circlet of red neon as a collar. Sia, 280 eddies, strength of 3, memory units of 1. Sia is designed to detect invisible icons within the range of one subgrid. This includes programs hidden netrunners and things hidden by invisibility in a virtual reality. Icon, a shimmering silver screen. Hidden Virtue, 280 eddies, strength of 3, memory units of 1. Hidden Virtue is a Rach Bartmoss design used to tell real icons from other objects in a virtual reality. For example, HV could tell the difference between a real person and a virtual one, or which book in a virtual library is really a data file. Icon, a glowing green ring which the Netrunner looks through. Speed Trap, 600 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 4. Speed Trap is an early warning program that detects the presence of an offensive program within 10 squares of the Netrunner's position, within the same subgrid. It cannot tell you where the program is, only that it exists. Icon, a flat glowing plate of glass in which images appear. If a program is present, the plate fills with the image of a robotic monster. If there is no program present, the plate remains blank. Anti-Systems. Flatline, 570 eddies. Strength of 3, memory units of 2. Flatline is designed to trace and kill the operating interface of your cyber modem. One zap and your deck must have its interface chip replaced. A flatline can be carried by an intruder netrunner and used to attack the decks of other runners encountered in the net. Icon, a beam of yellow neon which shoots from the netrunner's fingertips. Poison Flatline, 540 eddies, strength of 2, memory units of 2. Poison Flatline is designed to destroy not only the interface software, but the memory of the deck as well. This wrecks the cyber modem, requiring total replacement. Like Flatline, Poison Flatline can be carried by an intruding netrunner and used to attack other runners encountered in the net. Icon, a beam of green neon which launches from the netrunner's fingertips. Crash, 570 eddies, strength of 3, memory units of 2. Crash causes the CPU of an attacked deck or system, closest CPU in multiprocessor systems, to become inoperative for 1d6 plus 1 turns. A crash deck automatically drops its runner out of the net, while a crash system may not act until the time period has elapsed and it has rebooted itself. Icon, a large cartoon anarchist bomb with a sizzling fuse. Deck Crash, 600 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 2. A modified version of Crash, which operates only on cyber decks, causing the Netrunner to be dropped out of the net for 1d6 turns. Icon, a cartoon stick of dynamite with a fuse. Murphy, 600 eddies, strength of 3, memory units of 2. Murphy causes the affected deck or system to randomly launch all of its applications, using as many actions as it has available to do this. Icon, you never know. Virus, 600 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 2. The virus attack automatically ties up one action of the system or deck until the deck is turned off. Icon, a glittering DNA shape made of lights and neon. Viral 15, 590 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 2. This virus causes the effective system or deck to randomly erase one file or program each turn until the deck is turned off. Icon, a swirling metallic blue fog with a white neon DNA helix embedded in the center. Evasion and stealth programs. Invisibility, 300 eddies, strength of 3, memory units of 1. Invisibility overlays a false signal on your cyber modem trace, making it appear to be harmless static. When activated, invisibility will allow the Netrunner to pass unnoticed through the net. Icon, a flickering iridescent sheet with drapes over the Netrunner. Stealth, 480 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 3. Stealth mutes the Netrunner's cyber signal, making him harder to detect. He is still visible, but offensive programs will not react to his presence. However, other Netrunners can still see him. Icon, a sheet of black energy draped over the Netrunner's icon. Replicator, 320 eddies. Strength of 3 for most programs, 4 versus Pitbulls, Bloodhounds, and Hellhounds. Replicator creates millions of copies of your cyber modem's trace, sending them off in all directions to confuse a pursuing program. If successful, the pursuer will track the wrong signal to a dead end. Replicator is especially good against the Dog series of programs, as it overloads their limited AI programming structure with too many decisions. Icon, a chrome sphere creating millions of holographic images of the Netrunner flickering away in all directions. Protection programs. Shield, 150 eddies, strength of 3, memory units of 1. Shield stops direct attacks to the Netrunner. On a successful use of Shield, the attack is thwarted and no damage is taken. Icon, a shifting circular energy field appearing in front of the Netrunner. Force Shield, 160 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 2. A more powerful version of Shield. Icon, a flickering silver energy barrier. Reflector, 160 eddies, strength of 5, memory units of 2. Reflector is designed to repel all stun, hellbolt, and knockout attacks. Icon, a flare of blue-green light coalescing into a mirrored bull. Armor, 170 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 2. This program is designed to slow and retard all anti-personnel attacks. On a successful use of Armor, the attack is stopped. On an unsuccessful use, Armor will reduce all stun, hellbolt, brain wipe, zombie, and hellhound attack damages by 3 points. Icon, glowing golden armor in a high-tech design. Flak, 180 eddies. Strength, 4 for most programs, 2 versus Pitbulls, Bloodhounds, and Hellhounds. Flak creates a tremendous wall of static, blinding the attacking program and allowing the Netrunner to easily evade. Flak is very good against most programs, but is relatively ineffective against the Dog series. Icon, a cloud of blinding, glowing, multicolored lights swirling in all directions. Anti-IC programs. Killer 2, 4, and 6. 1320 eddies, 1400 eddies, and 1480 eddies. Strength, 1 for each level of program, memory units of 5. Killer is a general-purpose virus program designed to kill other programs. It enters the logic structure of its victim and inserts errors with blinding speed, causing the target to crash, 1d6 to strength. Killer is a very simple program, smooth, elegant, and tough. There are many versions of Killer. Icon, a large man-like robot dressed as a metallic samurai. His eyes glow red from behind the mask, and he carries a glowing katana. Manticore, 880 eddies. Strength of 2, memory units of 3. Manticore is the simplest of a series of assassin programs, a type of killer designed to locate and destroy demon programs. If no demon is present in your cyber modem file, Manticore will ignore you. Icon, a huge lion-like shape drawn in red neon schematic lines. A large scorpion tail arcs over one shoulder. Hydra, 920 eddies, strength of 3, memory units of 3. A more powerful variant of a Manticore. Icon, a glittering blue fog that encircles its target and dematerializes it. Dragon, 960 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 3. The most powerful variant of Manticore. Icon, a great golden scaled dragon robot. Laser beams shoot in multicolored arcs from its eyes, and it is wreathed in electrical discharges. Aardvark, 1000 eddies. Strength of 4 versus worms. No effect on any other programs. Memory Units 3. Aardvark is designed to locate and destroy intruding worm programs. It will immediately seek out and destroy any worm program carried, even if it is loaded as a demon subroutine. Icon, a matrix of thin yellow neon lines which surround the worm program and close around it like a tightening net. The matrix then dematerializes with the worm entrapped. Anti-personnel programs. Stun, 6000 eddies. Strength of 3, memory units of 3. Stun sends an overpowering bolt of energy into the target, causing him to be frozen in place for 1d6 turns. This is a very commonly used offensive program, particularly by the net cops. Icon, a bolt of blue flame streaking from the Netrunner's open palm. Hellbolt, 6750 eddies. Strength 4, memory units 4. A more powerful version of Stun, Hellbolt causes physical damage, 1d10 per attack. To the Netrunner, damage is subtracted from the Netrunner as a wound until he is dead. Saves versus Stun and death must also be made. Icon, a bolt of crimson fire launched from the Netrunner's raised hand. Sword, 6250 eddies. Strength of 3, memory units of 4. A variant of Hellbolt, Sword causes 1d6 in physical damage per hit. Icon, a glowing energy katana. Brainwipe, 6500 eddies. Strength of 3, memory units of 4. Brainwipe is the simplest of a series of black programs, all of which are designed to attack the Netrunner instead of his programs. All black programs can be carried by an intruding Netrunner and used to attack other runners encountered in the net. Brainwipe tracks the victim down, fries his forebrain with a jolt of current, and reduces him to a drooling vegetable, 1d6 each turn to intelligence. The screaming Netrunner feels his mind melt away, until his intelligence is reduced to 0 and he dies. Lost intelligence cannot be regained. Icon, an acid green electrical arc, which leaps from the floor and engulfs and kills the runner. Zombie, 7500 eddies. Strength of 5, memory unit of 4. An advanced and more powerful version of Brainwipe, Zombie wipes out the victim's forebrain, making him a drooling vegetable, 1d6 to intelligence each turn. Icon, a shrouded skeletal form enveloped in a stinking gray mist. Its eyes are sunken and its flesh is a mass of rotting, maggot-filled meat. It lunges out and rips the Netrunner's head off. Lich, 7250 eddies. Strength of 4, memory units of 4. An advanced form of zombie, Lich also rips away the forebrain, 1d6 to intelligence, but selectively. More memory is eradicated, leaving enough to implant an easily controlled, by the referee, pseudo-personality into the empty brain. Icon, a metallic skeleton dressed in black robes and wearing a blackened crown. It grabs the Netrunner in its freezing grasp, and it drags him back under the floor. Firestarter, 6250 eddies. Strength of 4, memory units of 4. Firestarter is indirectly anti-personnel in nature. Using its Bloodhound subroutines, it tracks the intruder to its source, silently entering the electrical system. It blasts the wiring with a megawatt power surge. The jolt causes wiring fires, explosions, and fries the Netrunner as if he were in an electric chair. Firestarter programs are excellent covert killers, as they leave little to no evidence in the charged wreckage. Icon, a blazing pillar of fire, which speaks the Netrunner's name in a hissing, booming voice, then leaps at him. Hellhound, 10,000 eddies. Strength of 6, memory units of 6. Hellhound combines the worst aspects of Pitbull and Flatline. It locates the intruder and sends out a modulated pulse designed to cause a heart attack in humans. 2d10 wound damage. If the Netrunner escapes in time, it remains active within the net, lurking silently in major long-distance terminals, waiting for the specific brainwave pattern of the intruder to show up. It then tracks him down again and kills him. Patient and remorseless, Hellhounds can wait years for its victims to log on. Its rarity and high price tag prohibits its use against all but extremely high-level Netrunners. Icon, a huge black metal wolf. Its eyes glow white, and fire runs in ripples all over its body. It speaks in a grating metallic voice, repeating the Netrunner's name. Spaz, 6,250 eddies. Strength of 4, memory units of 3. Spaz causes epileptic seizures in the Netrunner's nervous system. Reflex is automatically reduced to half for 1d6 turns, slowing the Netrunner's initiative rolls drastically. Appearance, a nimbus of electrical energy surrounding the target. Glue, 6,500 eddies, strength of 5, memory units of 4. Used by the Icemen of Netwatch as an arrest program, Glue freezes the Netrunners in place for 1d10 turns. 4 turns is long enough to get a good trace on his location in real space. The Net Cops can then send a squad along to pick him up at their leisure. Icon, a shifting pattern of red shapes flickering across the floor to entangle the Netrunner. Knockout, 6,250 eddies. Strength of 4, memory units of 3. Knockout delivers a powerful modulated shock that knocks the Netrunner out for 1d6 hours. He is automatically dumped out of the net and in a coma in real space for this period of time. Knockout is a very common defense against low-level intrusion, like the phone company or an office system. Icon, a yellow neon schematic boxer, appears and strikes out at the Netrunner's icon. Jack Attack, 6,000 eddies. Strength of 3, memory units of 3. Jack Attack is often used as an arrest program. It stops the Netrunner from jacking out for 1d6 turns if it is successfully run. Icon, a pair of glowing schematic handcuffs encircling the Netrunner's wrists. Controller programs. Note, controllers are run using the control remote function of the menu and have no icons. VidiMaster, 140 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 1. Allows control of video boards. Sound Machine, 140 eddies, strength of 4, memory unit of 1. Allows control of microphones, loudspeakers, vocoders, computer voice boxes. Open Sesame, 130 eddies, strength of 3, memory unit of 1. A low-level program for opening doors, elevators, etc. Genie, 150 eddies, strength of 5, memory unit of 1. A high-level program for opening doors, elevators, etc. Hotwire, 130 eddies, strength of 3, memory units of 1. Allows remote control of robotic cars, vehicles, etc. D2, 130 eddies, strength of 3, memory unit of 1. Allows control of robots, cleaning mecha, auto factories, etc. Crystal Ball, 140 eddies, strength of 4, memory unit of 1. Allows control of video cameras, remote sensors, etc. New Z8, 140 eddies, strength of 4, memory unit of 1. Allows through-the-net access to data terms and screensheet boxes for information. Phone Home, 150 eddies, strength of 5, memory unit of 1. Allows the Netrunner to place or receive calls in the net. Phone Home is also strength 2 to intercept and listen into other calls. Utility programs. Databaser, 180 eddies. Strength of 8, memory units of 2. Creates open files to store information in. Alias, 160 eddies. Strength of 6, memory unit of 2. Changes file names, replacing the file name with an innocuous title that hides its true nature. Re-res, 130 eddies, strength of 3, memory unit of 1. Recompiles and restores damaged files or programs. If a program is de-resed, this is the best way to get it back short of having a copy. Instant Replay, 180 eddies, strength of 8, memory units of 2. Makes a record of the Netrunner's trip so that he can retrace his steps through the net. Gatemaster, 150 eddies, strength of 5, memory unit of 1. Deletes and kills virus and viral 15 programs without requiring a total shutdown of the system or deck. Padlock, 160 eddies, strength of 4, memory units of 2. Keeps anyone other than the Netrunner from logging onto the deck unless the proper code word is used. Electrolock, 170 eddies, strength of 7, memory unit of 2. Changes an open file to a locked file equal to a code gate of strength 3. File Locker, 140 eddies, strength of 4, memory unit of 1. Locks an open file to a level equal to a code gate of strength 5. Netmap, 150 eddies, strength of 4, memory unit of 1. Provides a locator map of most major net regions, adding +2 to any systems knowledge check to find a place in the net. File Packer, 140 eddies, strength of 4, memory unit of 1. Compacts files to half their normal MU sizes. Takes 2 turns to unpack a file to normal size. Backup, 140 eddies, strength of 4, memory unit of 1. Backup allows you to make a copy of any program except for anti-IC and anti-personnel types. You will need extra data chips and a CyberDeck chip reader for this. Demon Series programs. These are 4 levels of programs created by the legendary Rach Bartmoss of CCI development in 2004. The Demon program is a generic program with the ability to incorporate several other programs as subroutines. In short, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 programs in one. To use the program, you must activate the daemon, then specify the chosen subroutine it carries. The subroutine programs look and act just as their originals, but are usually less powerful, as they might use the program's strength of the Demon Core in combat. Imp, 1000 eddies, demon that carries 2 programs, strength of 3, memory unit of 3. Icon, a small orange sphere of light with 2 amused looking red eyes. It continually emits a series of beeps, whistles, and pinging noises. Afrit, 1160 eddies, demon series that carries 3 programs, strength of 3, memory unit of 4. Icon, a tall, powerfully built black man dressed in elegant evening clothes and wearing a fez. He carries a dagger in his jacket and speaks in a formal, deep voice. Succubus, 1200 eddies, demon that carries 4 programs, strength of 4, memory units of 4. Icon, a voluptuous nude female form, hairless and made from shiny chrome metal. She has large bat-like wings and blue pupilless eyes. Balron, 1240 eddies, demon that carries 4 programs, with a strength of 5 and a memory unit of 5. Icon, a huge male figure powerfully built. He is dressed in futuristic black armor, glittering with reflected highlights. In one hand, he carries a red glowing energy blade. His other arm ends in a series of neon green glowing tentacles. His eyes glow red behind his visor, and his voice is a sibilant hiss. Copying your programs. A smart idea. You can copy almost any program in your arsenal. All you need is the backup utility, a data chip, and a chip reader to put it in. A single chip holds 1 MU, but backup is designed to break a larger file up over 2 or more chips. Chips cost 10. To copy the contents of the average deck will cost between 100 to 300 eddies. Cheap at twice the price. No, anti-IC and anti-personnel programs cannot be backed up copied, but they have special copy protection routines that erase the chip in the copy process. This makes sure you can come back to your friendly local fixer for a new copy of Hellhound when yours crashes. You can make a copy using your programming skill against a task difficulty of 28, but think what happens if you screw up. Changing programs. Chips are inserted into your deck before the start of the run. Once you're in the face, you're committed. However, if you're willing to dump out of the net and abort the run, you can change chips 1 turn. You'll have to jack back in and retrace your steps, but this time when you meet that brain wipe, you'll be ready. Designing new programs. Check out the Designing Your Own Program section on page 158 for details. You thought. By now some of you more creative types are thinking, hey, why not just crash into the internet's mainframe and delete my bill each month? And we'd be disappointed if you didn't think of it. It means you're thinking like true cyberpunks, and that makes us proud. But let's put it this way. You know how tough Arasaka's Tokyo main is? Well, Arasaka still pays its monthly bill to the internet. These guys don't use the net. They own the net. You don't even want to guess what the internet can throw at you. It even scares Saburo Arasaka. No, we're not saying you can't jack your phone bill around. Frack, it's a time-honored skill of the Loyal Order of Blue Boxers and phone freaks. But referees with a consistent phone freaking problem should feel free to unleash the hounds of hell on their habitual offenders. Running from the world's largest corporation makes for a heck of an adventure. Live link up. Okay, you've got a deck and some programs. What else are you gonna need? The last thing you're going to need is a place to plug in. This means a phone number. If you're running a stationary cyber deck, this is as simple as contacting your local office of Internet Phone Corporation and arranging for a phone number. The office checks your background and credit record, then issues you a net access code, equivalent to a 20th century phone number. If you have a cellular phone or cellular cyber modem, the process is equally simple. Call up Internet, tell them your CyberDeck serial number, get a credit check, and your net access code is issued to you right then and there. The net access code is billed at a flat rate, 30 eddies per month, plus additional costs for long-distance net runs or calls. The bill is sent to your home on the first of the month. If you don't have a permanent residence, Internet will arrange to have the funds deleted out of your credit account automatically, sending a statement to wherever you get your mail. Didn't pay your bills this month? Internet gives you 30 days to pay up, with polite reminders at the end of the 30. Past 60 days, Internet automatically deletes your net access code. From then on, the code is invalid and you just don't make calls, period. For a 1,000 eddy deposit, you can get a new net access code. Maybe. Past 120 days, Internet scrambles a solo team and starts looking for you. Collections in the 21st century is a rapidly expanding field, with exciting new developments in man-portable weapons, brain wipe, and behavior adjustments through selective use of adverse pain therapy. Just so you know, you don't have to have a net access code. You can jack a deck into someone else's line, making yourself really popular with your cube mate, or even jack into a street data term. However, at 1 eddies per minute plus long distance charges, this can be an expensive proposition. You also have to put the euro right up front to log on. This may be one reason why a favorite tactic of netrunners is to sneak into a big corporate office building where they can log on using the corporation's phones to make their runs. This is illegal and dangerous. Corporate guards aren't known for a sense of humor, but it is free. And that's a powerful incentive for some people. Got a net access code? Let's get busy. Running the net. Okay, let's start with the basics. First, you gotta know how to move around. That's easy. Each turn in the net, you can move 5 spaces, no matter how big those spaces are. On the net world map on page 146, a single space is 1,000 square miles. On a city grid map, a single space is about a dozen blocks. On a subgrid map, 1 square of a city grid map, a single space is roughly a few yards. No matter where you are, you still move 5 spaces per turn. How's that? Look, Chumbada, in reality, you're not moving at all. It's just your point of view that's moving. Think of it like you're sending out an eyeball on a long string. The eyeball travels, but you don't. In the net, things move fast. Speeds are measured in nanoseconds, not even seconds. We meat minds are turtles compared to the big systems and the AIs. To get things down to a scale we humans can comprehend, the interface program in your deck scales time down to match your perceptions. In real time, you may have just moved 2,000 miles in 1 second, but you just perceive it as teleportation. Zap, you're there. When distances are smaller, the interface program slows things down so that you don't crash through the sides of some honcho's data fortress. 5 spaces per 1 second turn. It's the law. Second rule, all travel in the net is done in straight lines. This means you go through the sides of a space, not the corners. See illustration. Sure, real people cut the corners all the time, but remember, you aren't really moving at all. The space you're not moving through doesn't really exist, and even if it did, the perception of volume is a creation of the old IG transformations, so you play by the interface's rules in the net. Got it? Okay, so now we're moving. On the net world map, page 146, we move by going from one long distance link, an LDL, to the next. Say you want to go from Night City to London. You can't just teleport to London. No, you'll have to go through a series of short 5 square hops to get where you want to go. You can do this by locating the furthest long distance link, LDL, within your 5 space range. From Night City, this means your options could be Salt Lake, Denver, Atlanta, Chicago, New York/Boss Wash, New Orleans, and Havana. You couldn't jump the whole way. At 5 spaces per turn, you'd end up stranded in the ocean without an LDL to stop at. So you jump from Night City to New York. From there, you can easily jump to London. It's 5 spaces exactly. But wait a sec. There's one more thing you need to consider: security levels. Long distance charges. Count the number of spaces between your starting point and your ending point. Multiply this by 20 eddies per turn spent in the net to determine how much you're charged. Example, our run from Night City to London covers 8 spaces and takes 2 turns. The cost of the call will be 320 eddies. Terminology note: net turn and net round are used interchangeably throughout this chapter. Security levels. If you're going to be making a legal long distance jump, going to New York is no problem. But face it, you don't want to spend a lot of euro on long distance charges. You want to run that old long distance link command on the menu and blast on through. That's where security levels come in. Each LDL is ringed with codes and defenses to keep you from logging free calls on Internet's phone tab. These defenses are reflected in the LDL security code, a value you must roll a 1d10 value equal or higher than in order to scam the system. If you fail the roll, you've been caught. Worse, your actions may alert the ever-vigilant Netwatch goons, who will track you down and drag you off to Death Valley maximum security prison. Roll 1d6 to see what happened. 1 through 4, you are cut off the line and are charged for the call. See sidebar page 142. 5, you are cut off and Netwatch is given your access code. Expect a friendly visit in real space soon. 6, the net cops try to bust you on the spot. Roll 1d6. 1 through 2, they fine you 1d6 times 100 eddies. 3 through 5, you escape. They don't have a trace on you, but will spend 1d6 plus 1 days patrolling that area of the net hoping you'll show up. 6, you escape, but they issue an A and B all net bulletin on you. They know you're out there and they're looking for you. It's only a matter of time. Often it's smarter to take the long way around when approaching a target city, moving through low security LDLs instead of jamming right through the high security ones. Tracing. There's another reason to pick your LDLs carefully. Besides having a security level, each LDL also has a trace value. The trace value represents the difficulty of tracking your cyber signal through the particular LDL. Each LDL you pass through has its own trace value. The total value of all LDLs passed through in a net run represents the difficulty of tracing your signal back to its source. By picking the right LDLs, or by going through a lot of them, you can make it nearly impossible to trace your point of origin. This is important, particularly if you are being attacked by a program with some type of tracing function built into it. For example, if a hellhound fails to nail you before you jack out, it must attempt to trace your signal in order to execute its backup program. Find out where the netrunner entered the net and wait till he re-enters, then kill him. To trace you, the program must roll 1d10 plus strength value equal to or greater than the total of all the trace values you have passed through on your trip. If the program fails this roll, it will not be able to get a trace on your signal. City grids. Once you hit your target city, it's time to move to your city grid map. This is an overall map of the city. Much like a real space map, the city map shows the locations of important places in the city, in this case, important systems and data fortresses. You enter the city grid map through the LDL icon on the map, then move at 5 spaces per turn to where your target system is located. We've given you a sample city grid based on Night City. As a referee, you'll want to construct your own city grids. There's a blank map for this purpose as well. If you have a really large city, you may want to use several city maps placed end to end. Each data fortress on the city grid has an identifying icon on the city grid map. These icons are coded by the level of security the system is known to have. Gray systems. These systems utilize one alarm and detection programs. They include most city governments, universities, and small private businesses. Level 1. These systems include small corporations, police services, and large private businesses. Anti-IC programs are used in these systems, as well as detection and alarm programs. Level 2. Anti-IC and anti-system programs are used here. These systems include medium-sized corporations and very large private businesses. Level 3. These systems use non-fatal anti-personnel programs. Level 3 systems are usually operated by large corporations, state governments, and other moderately powerful groups. These people don't want you in their systems, but they don't have the clout to waste you out of hand. They'll just hurt you and hand you over to Netwatch. Black systems. These fortresses use fatal and non-fatal anti-personnel software. Black systems include multinational corporations and government agencies like the CIA. They know you have no business being in their system, and they don't care what your lawyers think about them. They're willing to bury both you and the ACLU in the landfill, and have the clout to do it. Hanging out. If the system you want to visit is offline or shut down, there's going to be a blank space in the net instead of a data fortress icon. You may have to wait around a while before your target shows up. For example, if First Euro Bank has 9 to 5 hours, this means you may have to wait until the bank comes online. So there you are, hanging out. Sooner or later, you're going to meet someone. Random net encounters. 1 through 2, nothing. 3, random program passes. 4, friendly netrunner. 5, hostile netrunner. 6, netwatch. Depicted is the world net map in real space. Here, world net map in net space. Orbitsville is depicted here. Each city/region is controlled by some group, having a separate security level and trace value associated with them. Here is the city grid map of Night City, and here is one to create your own. Subgrids. This is where most of your net running actions take place. Once you've jumped through the LDLs and located your target on the city grid, your netrunner will move to the specific subgrid where the system is to check out. A subgrid map on page 151 covers about 12 square blocks and is divided up into 10-meter squares. A system or data fortress, a heavily armored system, is constructed by filling up adjacent squares of the subgrid in a sort of loose building form. The shape of the data fortress on paper is only roughly like its real appearance. Systems can be shaped like corporate logos, colored polygons, real space buildings, abstract shapes, or even personalities, such as Disney's Titanic Mickey Mouse shaped data fortresses in the Chiba, Tokyo region. When designing a data fortress, for more on this see page 144, referees should make some attempt to make the shape on the map roughly correspond to what the actual netspace icon on the fortress is, if only to make it easier on your players. As in all net movement, runners move at a rate of 5 squares per turn. Movement, of course, is in straight lines and cannot obviously pass through an obstacle unless you blast it to oblivion first. Once you're down to the subgrid level, netrunning becomes pretty simple. You try to get into the data fortress either by getting through a code gate or by blasting through a wall. Once inside, you move from place to place looking for memories to loot and other useful things. Along the way, you'll encounter various anti-intrusion programs and traps, all of which are programmed to do something nasty to you, your software, or your deck. You'll launch your own counter programs to stop them from frying something important. For a sample of in the net action, check out the sidebar Into the Net starting on this page. Into the net. So enough talk, let's take a little trip, okay? You begin your run in your one-room flat in the Night City combat zone. You're packing 5 programs, a jackhammer, a wizard's book, a copy cracker, and 2 demons. One demon is a succubus 2 with killer and worm subroutines. The other is an imp with invisibility and hellbolt. You hit the switch and plunge headfirst into the net. Instantly, you're engulfed in a wall of swirling static electricity. You look down at your icon. You're a chromed humanoid shape wearing futuristic battle armor. Your face reflects in your mirrored body. Your eyes glow an eerie green. Below you is a bright neon landscape representing the Night City grid. In the distance is a blazing blue diamond shape, emblazoned with the logo of the Internet Telephone Corporation. You fly down the pathway towards the blue diamond. Your objective is the Los Angeles office of Microtech Computers, so you streak towards the glowing arrow of the long-distance link. You don't expect much trouble getting in. The phone company doesn't use any serious counter-intrusion software, and Night City only rates a security level of 2 anyways. You activate the menu with your mind and run your LDL link. Faked them again, you think, blasting on through. You enter the LDL, the glowing violet arrow sinks through the floor. It's like moving downstairs on a fast elevator. Lights blur around you as you fall towards the distant trunk line. You drop until you see a brilliant red, neon shape rising to meet you, a streaming river of red light, like a superhighway. It angles away into the star-strewn darkness towards the horizon. At intervals, you can see complex grids and shapes of multicolored neon structures representing cities. You reach the red highway and hurtle above it at light speed, passing through spidery light sculptures, representing cities along the trunk line. A huge network of neon rises in the distance, Los Angeles. You bank over another huge violet arrow, a long-distance link, and land. The arrow swiftly rises into the neon maze, linking you to the Los Angeles city grid, all in seconds. As you exit the LDL, a figure flickers by. It's a slender woman wrapped in a gauzy, iridescent mist. Her eyes and fingernails are pinpoints of light. She smiles in recognition. You know her by the handle of Razor Annie. You smile back and she passes you on her way to the LDL. You step out into the vast, cool blue space of the LA city grid. Far above your head, you can see hundreds of neon logos, each representing a different megacorp. You spot the familiar red barred circle of Microtech and rise towards effortlessly. The Microtech logo stands before you like a bright door. A white pinpoint marks the entrance to its code gate. Beyond it looms a dark, feral shape, a watchdog program, hunched over, waiting for intruders. You activate your imp, a spinning, bright ball of orange light appears, and kicks in its invisibility subroutine. The imp flattens to a thin, glittering sheet of energy draping itself over you. The invisibility is successful. You walk past the watchdog and up to the code gate. Although you spent days researching Microtech, nothing you found has given you a clue to their access code. It's going to take brute force. You unlimber the code cracker, no good. How about the wizard's book, no good there. You should have known, trying to crack a computer company's fortress. You just can't crack the code gate. Time to call up the jackhammer. The imp swirls around your head as you work, making a few rude beeping noises. The jackhammer slams down the wall. Before you move on, you decide to play it safe. Jackhammer's noisy. You activate the imp's speed trap routine. It shapeshifts into a flat view screen. No metallic monster looms in on the screen, so the area must be clear. You step through the hole you've made. Whammo! The speed trap was wrong! A killer leaps up and attacks your imp. You curse, realizing you should have packed something to counter. You know the imp won't survive this, so you activate your succubus instead, pulling up its own killer subroutine. Instantly, a chromed goddess appears, her eyes flashing. She shifts form into a powerfully built metallic samurai, who attacks the opposing metal warrior. Their sabers clash, and the system falls. You've saved your imp this time. Good going, stud, the succubus says to you as you move on. Hulking around the next corner is the massive form of a manticore. You try invisibility again, but it fails. The manticore's powerful talons attacks your imp. The imp fails its role and is vaporized. In the next turn, you activate the succubus's killer routine. The metal-clad warrior springs forward and attacks the monster, slaying it in a flare of light. Close call. You've lost your invisibility and speed trap programs, so you move cautiously. You carefully move through one of the central processors, looking for trouble. You figure you could use the CPU to hit the workstations and see who's logging on. But that's not going to give you a lot of good data. What you want are the plans for Microtech's new military computer. That'll be in one of the memories. You press on. Entering the first memory area, you encounter another watchdog. Wait, it's a bloodhound! It lunges out to backtrack your trail. You activate the killer routine and the armored warrior reses into reality. In moments, the techno samurai kills the hound before it can trace your path. The killer melts back into the form of the beautiful chrome succubus. She winks. There's nothing in here but accounting records. Useful, but nothing you can't go back for later. Cautiously, you move ahead to the next memory. Empty. What gives? Obviously, someone wanted to spend their money elsewhere in the fortress, but where? You move like a shadow to the next memory. Hellhound! The huge black cloud leaps at you, but you throw the killer routine its way. Your metal warrior staggers and misses. The system reses another killer, which attacks your own program. Flash! Your succubus vaporizes with a despairing cry. You're alone without a program to cover you. The killer waits. The hellhound's eyes glitter gleefully as it reaches out to stop your heart. You punch out. You're sitting in a chair in front of your desk. The seedy flight is silent except for a faint hum of your cyber modem as it powers down. Your hands shake as you think about your narrow escape. Next time, you think, I've got to bring along some bigger guns. That was too close. The entire run has only lasted less than 2 minutes. The menu. So far we've talked about moving around in the net, but not all Netrunner activity has to be flat out net running. In fact, the most useful Netrunner tasks can happen without only minimal interfacing. Most of the time, you're not going to be deep in the interface at all. You're going to be running around the street with your gang boys, backing a high-risk play for the big euro. The middle of a firefight is no place for you to go sleepwalking, Chumbada. That's where the menu comes in. The menu is a list of commands that you use to tell your deck what you want to do. Each command activates a pre-programmed function of the deck. The menu is always present when you jack in. All you have to do is think about it, and it instantly appears, like a floating one-dimensional image in your field of vision. You think the command, and you're off. Back to the street. 2 of the most important commands of the menu don't require you to go into the net at all. You can call on them from real space. The first is locate remote. With this command, your deck immediately scans your immediate area up to 400 meters, and locates every remote system connected to the net. It then displays a list of all the possibilities, their locations and type, on the menu. Now comes the second most important command, control remote. When activated, this command tells your cyberdeck to search its memory for a program to allow it to take control of the remote you've selected. These controller programs are designed to take over specific types of remotes. A VidiMaster, for example, will only control a video board, while Hotwire allows you to control remote-controlled vehicles. When the cyberdeck locates the right controller program, which you may not have, it runs the program and attempts to take over the remote, a roll equal to or lower than the controller's program strength on a 1 through 10. If the roll is successful, you can direct the remote to do anything it normally could do as part of its operation. Cars drive, AVs fly, video boards display desired images, etc. This can be a real advantage. Trapped by superior firepower? How about taking over the nearby robocab and using it to ram the enemy position? Armored door got your team stimmed? Maybe it's computer controlled and you can open it from inside. Want to spot that solo team up ahead? Use a TV camera and a hidden mic to locate them. Then use your D2 program to tell the automated crane to crush their car. See what we mean? Now we don't want to have you netrunners whinging about sitting at home on a Friday night anymore. The rest of the menu. Log on/off. The rest of the menu commands are designed to be used while in the net. They are activated when you choose the log on/off command on the list. This punches you into the net. To log off, you must make a roll equal or lower than 8 on a 1d10. Logging off drops you back into real space. Some programs are designed to stop you from doing this. After all, NetWatch would like you to stick around while they talk to you. These programs jam your cyberdeck CPU, preventing you from jacking out for 1d6 turns. Run program. This command activates any program you call on as long as you have it in your deck's memory. The program instantly goes into action, performing its functions as designed. You hope. Long distance link. This command is used to transfer between 2 long distance switching systems, or LDLs. When activated, the deck attempts to tell the phone company that the call you're making is a local call, even if it isn't, and shouldn't be charged to your phone bill. A successful attempt requires that you roll a 1d10 value equal to or higher than the security level of the LDL you're trying to fake out. As it comes from the factory, this option is actually designed to tell Internet that this is a cyberdeck signal. However, reprogramming this command is one of the first things an enterprising netrunner does, even before he plugs his brand new deck in. Copy. This command tells the deck to make a copy of any program or file the netrunner has access to. You can use this, for example, to make your own copy of Saburo Arasaka's Little Black Book, just in case you find yourself dateless in Osaka on a Friday night. A copy is automatically stored in your deck's memory, assuming there is space. One of the nifty things about cyberdeck designs is that they have terminal emulation chips included in their construction, making them tiny terminals inside the computer. This design function allows a friendly netrunner to diagnose and work within its own data fortresses. It also allows an unfriendly netrunner to give the CPU of the system his own commands. Erase. This deletes any program or file from your personal deck or from any system you are currently in. Erase is used when you don't have enough space in your deck for Saburo's Black Book and you just have to have it. Read. This command allows you to browse the table of contents of any file it may find in a system memory, or through the contents of that file. Most of the time, however, you aren't going to want to waste your time reading the actual contents. You'll just make a copy and run for cover. Note, occasionally, very devious types take advantage of this by planting huge files in a system memory with seductive labels like Secret Plans to Rule the Earth. The file, of course, contains nothing but useless garbage, but a really gullible netrunner will invariably dump everything else he has just to carry this treasure back. Edit. This command allows you to change, write into, rewrite, or otherwise alter the contents of a file. Create/delete. This command activates a special program called Creator. Creator is used to generate virtual constructs and realities within memory. For more on Creator, check out Virtually There on page 160. In the meantime, what you should know is that Create allows you to make small objects in NetSpace, relatively non-functional ones, as guns cause no damage and most electronic hardware doesn't really do anything, and that Delete allows you to derez the same. Safeguards in Creator prevent you from PG, someone else's creation. However, this is actually a good idea. Do you really want to be the guy who accidentally derezes Dream Parks Corporation Virtual's theme park? Combat. Edgar skated around the edge of the Kirashiyu data fortress, his Cosmo Warrior icon leaving a sparkling wake. Behind him, the Kirashiyu system res 4 hellbolts into existence. Edgar muttered something vague about obscene and gutter Japanese, as he brought the menu up in his mind. A quick choice. Run the killer, he decided. Instantly, the lean, metallic shape res behind the fleeing netrunner and streaked off on an intercept course towards the 4 seething energy globes. Initiative. The first thing to determine in a netrunner combat is who goes first. This can be critical as most offensive software can seriously incapacitate or kill in a single turn. To determine who will act first, compare Computer's Intelligence plus 1d10 versus Netrunner's Reflex plus deck speed plus 1d10. When there is more than one netrunner or system involved in an attack, each combatant must make its own initiative roll, taking turns from highest to lowest total. Like normal combat, you may elect to hold your action until later, or even set up an ambush. A netrunner combat round is 1 second long. During this time, a netrunner can take one action, unlike a normal combat round in which a character has 3 full seconds to cram in a lot of actions. This action can be anything listed on the menu in addition to movement. For example, Edgar elects in his combat round to move 5 spaces away from the Hellhound and run a program, in this case a killer, to attack his enemy. Computers, of course, are a lot faster than humans. Single CPU systems perform only one action per turn. A computer may perform one extra action per turn for every 2 additional CPU present in the system. A really powerful computer could activate 2, 3, 4, or more programs to attack a single netrunner. This is why netrunners team up to tackle big systems. Range. Range in the net is simple. You have to be able to see the target in order to hit it. As a rule, you can see anything within 20 spaces of your position, unless it's blocked by some other obstacle, as determined by the referee of the game. You can attack anything else within 20 spaces as long as you can see it and isn't blocked by another object. Movement. As discussed before, netrunners move at a speed of 5 spaces per round, but how fast do programs move, if ever? Most programs are limited to staying within the confines of a system. However, once they spot you, they can move anywhere within the system to intercept, also moving at a speed of 5 spaces per round. A program can pursue a netrunner anywhere within its home system, and up to 1 space outside of it. It will then break off the attack and go back to its original position. Hellhounds, Bloodhounds, and Pit Bulls have no such restrictions. They are designed with a tracing function that allows them to move away from their home system and follow you anywhere. The only way to ditch one of these monsters is to jack out and hope the pursuer isn't able to make a successful trace roll on you, otherwise it'll be waiting the next time you log on in that location of the net. Trace rolls. A trace roll is made by comparing the program's strength plus 1d10 to the total of all the trace values of all the LDLs you pass through during your run. Example, Spider's most recent run has taken her through Salt Lake 1, Denver 2, New Orleans 3, Havana 3, Bogota 4, and Rio 2. In Rio, she encounters a Hellhound, a strength of 6, which attacks her outside of the Petrochem's new data fortress. Spider jacks out and the Hellhound tries to run a trace back to her original position. It must beat a total of 15, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 for a total of 15, in order to make a successful trace. That Hellhound better roll a 9 or 10 or it's going to be out in the cold. Stealth and evasion. Like you, a program can attack anything it can see. As programs have no front or back facing, what's the front of a string of code? This means they can see you coming in any direction all the time. Well, maybe. This is where stealth and evasion come in. When you are running a stealth or invisibility type program, the opposition has to make a special roll to see if it's aware of you. Attacker's program strength plus 1d10 versus your program's strength plus 1d10. Detection. The other side of stealth and evasion is detecting the unseen. To use a detection program, the netrunner must make a roll exactly as when using a stealth/evasion program above. Note that netrunners can use detection programs against the stealth programs of other runners and vice versa. Attacks against systems and cyberdecks. Some programs are designed to attack only systems and cyberdecks. They operate by penetrating the data walls that protect the system, then running their attack programs. Anti-system attacks include intrusion and anti-system programs. These attacks are made with the formula attacking program strength plus 1d10 versus code or data wall strength plus 1d10. If the attacking program's roll is greater than the data walls, the wall is penetrated. Some intrusion programs are noisier than others. Hammer will always alert the system to a break-in, allowing it to send offensive programs to deal with the break. Jackhammer will alert the system on a roll of 8, 9, or 10 on a D10 roll. This check is made after the program is run, whether the wall is breached or not. Anti-system attacks are also made against the data walls of the system. The formula is the same as with intrusion attacks. If the anti-system program's roll is greater than the data walls, the wall is penetrated and the program takes effect in the next turn. For example, if a poison flatline breaks through a level 5 data wall, in the next turn, one of the system or deck's memories will be erased each turn until the flatline is stopped. This could be done with a killer or other anti-IC program. Decryption programs attack code gates and file locks. Code gates are entryways into a computer system. File locks are often placed on files to protect them from entry. Decryption attacks are made as are other anti-system attacks. Anti-personnel attacks, stuff that can kill you. Anti-personnel programs physically attack the netrunner, either through physical damage or through attacks on the netrunner stats. These can be used by both computer systems and netrunners. Anti-personnel attacks are made with the formula Defender's program strength plus intelligence plus interface plus 1d10 versus Attacker's program strength plus intelligence plus interface plus 1d10. On an equal or higher roll, the attacker will win the combat exchange. For example, Spider is attacked by a powerful brainwipe program. She raises her own force shield counter program. The rolls are Spider 18, the computer 17. Spider successfully thwarts the brainwipe. In the next turn, Spider goes on the offensive, launching a killer at the brainwipe. Her total roll is an 18. The system's roll is only a 15. The brainwipe takes 5 points in strength damage. As it's only a strength 4 program, it de-reses. Attacks against programs, anti-IC. Protection programs are designed to ward off attacks on the netrunner. On a successful defense roll, the attacking program is deflected and no damage is taken. For example, a successful defense with a shield will stop a Hellhound from killing the netrunner, but will have no effect on a killer attacking a netrunner's lich. If the Hellhound is not eliminated, it will be able to attack again. Anti-IC programs are used to attack other programs, such as killers attacking Hellhounds. When a successful attack is made, the defending program loses a certain number of strength points based on the program type. If the defending program's strength is reduced to 0, it is de-resed or destroyed. Controllers and utilities. Although they don't really count as Netrunner combat, controllers and utilities deserve a quick mention. Controllers can take control of a remote by making a 1d10 roll equal to or lower than the strength of the controller program. Utilities operate by rolling a value equal to or lower than the strength of the utility program. If successful, the utility performs its entire function. For example, running a Packer utility will automatically reduce the size in MU of any designated programs by half. Re-res would completely restore a damaged program if successful. Okay, so that was half of section 10. The first 27 pages out of 48 pages. The reason why I'm cutting it short is because the last few sections involve data fortresses, their designs, and how someone can invent their own programs, whether it be the referee or the player. The first 27 pages of the Netrunning section tell you the basic fundamentals of how to traverse the net and how to interface with Netrunner options. I really like how they describe it. There's very fun and wild concepts, a virtual environment similar to real-world space to simplify things, so networks that are in a big skyscraper are going to be high up in the sky, and you'll have to physically reach there in net space in order to get there. Or you can go there physically as a netrunner and try to interface into one of the jack points so that you don't have to travel all that distance. I really like that it leans into the fantasy theme or genre, with references to things like naming regions kingdoms, having wizard's book programs, and using demons as literal monsters to fight your battles for you. It's all very fun. I like to imagine what it would be like depicted. I like that people wrote programs for like palm trees to be depicted in the virtual environment, and like for programmed fish to swim around and act as if they're in an ecosystem. It's all very fun and flavorful, and I especially like how there are rules for traversing the net and hanging out in the net, but it can be very dangerous because everything in Cyberpunk is always going to be dangerous. I like to imagine that it's a neon-lit vector graphics a la Asteroids with different technicolors, so everything has like this weird black background, but has just bright, luminescent colors popping out at you. It would probably be super irritating to actually be there to see it. And it says that you can see, like, when you're on different subgrids, ginormous beacons very far away. And I'm assuming that you only have a view distance of 20 squares, like it describes in the rule set, to be able to see something. Like maybe there's a load distance, a rendering distance, if you will, so that you can only see as far as 20 squares, which would make sense to me. But if you go back to one of the pages that shows the map of, say, the city grid, I'm pretty sure that what it describes you see as like the LDL icon is definitely going to be more than 20 squares away. So it's just a little headcanon. I don't know what the exact vision is. It was actually very straightforward. There is a big commotion about how complicated netrunning is in Cyberpunk 2020, but it's really not that complicated at all. In fact, it's less complicated than the actual Friday Night Firefight combat system. It just has one attack stat, one defense stat, and an evasion stat. That's pretty much it. That's all you need to actually traverse the net. And then it really comes down to how your cyber modem, how powerful your cyber modem is, how powerful your programs are, and what you can spare, because the resources that you have in any one cyber modem are very limited. I think the movement rules for traversing the net are a little too simple, because once you have a chase going on with like any sort of dog or hound, and you have to run away, you're not going to make any distance or headway on them. They're just going to follow you infinitely. You'll really have no escape except to just log out or fight it then and there. Maybe that's the intended exchange, but it just seems a little half-baked, just the movement side of things. Everything else was pretty straightforward and simplistic. The only problem is going to be remembering all these programs and what they do. You're always going to have to be going back to see what does what in order to run a smooth Netrunner data fortress besiegement. I thought it was very interesting that they highlighted the fact that Netrunners can travel in packs, or should travel in packs, because if they're going to besiege a giant data fortress, it could have multiple CPUs, which means it'll have multiple attacks to make against any one Netrunner. which then in turn means it has action economy against the player, and as any role-playing tabletop gamer knows, action economy is king when it comes to actually surviving and winning a combat. Just because you're more powerful than the average goblin doesn't mean that you're going to be able to take on 20, because eventually they'll get enough rolls to penetrate your armor and stab you to death. And mind you, too, I think what people don't even mention about Cyberpunk 2020 is that literally any person who has the interface plugs or just a keyboard and terminal can go into the net and traverse it like what we expect the Netrunners exclusively be able to do. Netrunners, their special ability is using the menu, which is basically the quick hack system from 2077. They're able to, in real time and real space, be able to interface with any available controller that's nearby them within a 400 meter radius. The only stipulation is that for their cyber modem or their cyber deck, I forget which one, I think they're used interchangeably. They have to have the correct, not program, but board, like a video board or an audio board or a control board, in order to use that specific controller that they pinged. So if you wanted to drive that car into that gang, you would need a hijack board or whatever they called it in order to actually do that. And then obviously roll, I think, above or below the strength of that specific controller. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a lot to remember, but the ideas are very simplistic. I like how easy to pick up it is. It's just hidden under this ginormous pile of flavor and text. A rewrite of the rules and a more simplistic approach would probably be a lot more digestible to newcomers to the franchise. You could have one that's the manual that adds all the flavor and context, and you can have one that just easily explains the rules without any fluff. And I understand, this role-playing system came from the late 80s and 1990, maybe early 90s. The internet wasn't really that big of a thing. A lot of people hadn't even heard about it. And I understand the premise that they think that people who know how to use computers and traverse the internet and use computer programs were definitely seen as some kind of wizard. It seemed like magic. You didn't know what was going on. The average person only knew that a computer displayed text on screen, and that's about it. Maybe you could calculate how to add and subtract numbers. Anywho, though, I think the addition of Netrunners and this entire section about how they interact with the Cyberpunk world really enriches the entire story. This setting could have just been punks going around shooting each other, but thanks to the introduction of all these fantastical net running options, it makes it a whole lot more cyber, putting the cyber into the punk. It's fantastic, and I think the fact that Red doesn't have any sort of net running available because it's so polluted with viruses and deadly things is kind of a disappointment. It's kind of a letdown, because this just is so enriching for any would-be referee to run. I have read problems about net running in that it's basically running a second entirely different game when it comes to actually running the Cyberpunk game itself. And I could definitely see that. Having a netrunner have 3 turns per their turn, maybe not even be in the same room as the other cyberpunks, because they can interface with the net and just besiege a data fortress, which is directly related to the building that they're going into. It would be a bit frustrating for some people, but I like that the book tries to dissuade you from making a netrunner just a chair jockey, because it seems like you have a lot more power and direct control over being there in person and controlling things without having to go deep dive into the net. There's a lot of ways you can interpret the way that the intended netrunner is to play. There's a lot of options. You can just be the guy that sits at the chair, but it really does encourage you to get out there and be one of the cyberpunks. Yeah, now that I think about it, there's a lot of programs that specifically try to guard against you entering from the same area more than one times. I think at least 3, maybe 2 of the hellhounds, or not the hellhounds, just the dogs that track you, they only guard that one area looking for you. So if you just pop out from a different data term or jacklink, it's literally not a problem. You just go around them. It's like some Bugs Bunny type strategy. So there really is a lot of incentive not to sit in one place and be inactive, be sedentary. You should be on the move, going to different data terminals, because that'll give you your best chance of actually not being caught by a tracking program. It's a lot more dangerous because you don't know what you'll find once you actually jack in. You can't scout, you're just kind of dropped into the middle of combat, and you pray hoping that whatever's on the other side isn't going to immediately kill you with black ice. In the next video, we'll cover data fortresses, their creation, and how you can create your own program in order to expand this very neat and fascinating system. So until next time.